Divisional weekend has come and gone, everybody, and we're here. We're on to episode 57 of YWC Football Talk, and who better to talk divisional playoff football with than the man himself, appearing here for the third time from Rogers Sportsnet, Andy McNamara. How are we doing today, Andy?
Well, I'm good, man. I'm good. It's a little bittersweet because my Browns are out, but we have the setup for, I think, two classic conference championship matchups this weekend, so I can't wait to watch those. There's still fantasy football to be played. There's real-life football. Then there's free agency, the draft. That's the thing I love about the NFL. There's only like 2 weeks a year where nothing happens. Like, everything keeps going and going. And, boy, you got Buccaneers, Packers, and Bills, Chiefs. Let's go.
Yeah, I know exactly how you feel. That's why, like, when I wanted to start a podcast, more or less a football podcast, I was like, football's the one sport that I can talk about year-round. It's the one sport where there's always chaos. Meanwhile, with stuff like, as big of a hockey fan I am, obviously, you and me being two Canadian guys, I sometimes like to take a bit of a breather from, like, just watching the sport, and there's also, too, when their off-season hits, like, stuff really, like, is exciting, but then it just dies down. Meanwhile, with the NFL, I feel like the only kind of not exciting you get is kind of like in that May period right after the draft. But besides that, it's pretty much just all go, go, go.
Yeah, that's it. No, you're right. And the other sports don't do as good of a job of just making themselves relevant the full calendar year. Like, think about the NFL. Everything is an event. The draft is the biggest spectacle of all the major sports. The combine. Like, the scouting combine. Guys running around in shorts and spandex shirts does massive ratings. Just huge ratings. You have that. You have free agency. There's every step of the way. There's something going on in the NFL. So it's great. It was a fun weekend of games, and you know what? We got, like, when we look at these two matchups, like, man, we get Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Josh Allen, Pat Mahomes. Hopefully Pat Mahomes with the head. You know, you hope he plays, but like on paper, these are two. I'm trying to think. Like, I'm sure there's been other conference championships in recent memory that have had great matchups, but for, like, both conference championships to be pretty much pick-ups, I don't think we've seen that in quite a while.
No, we haven't. Like, usually sometimes, like last year, I feel like everyone had a feeling of, like, look, Kansas City's probably going to beat Tennessee, and more than likely San Francisco was going to handle Green Bay just because of what happened to Green Bay earlier in that year when they went. But the other funny thing about these matchups, too, is both matchups occurred already on the same week of the NFL season, Week 6.
That's interesting. I didn't know that. Oh, okay. Yeah. So you got, and it's funny to think about at this time of year where, okay, what do the two teams take from the first meeting? You know, what stage were the teams at compared to now? Does it make a difference? And to be able to track that, I think is going to be just really interesting because, you know, you got the two young quarterbacks versus the two guys who are going to the Hall of Fame. You know, and Josh Allen and the Bills on the rise and the Chiefs trying to ward off everybody. Browns came within one score, man. Like, one score of dethroning the Super Bowl champs. But when you're the champs and when you're as good as Kansas City is, you find a way. And it doesn't matter how you do it. You find a way. They did. And now you just got over. I'll say this. If for whatever reason Patrick Mahomes cannot play, this game becomes a whole lot less interesting with Chad Henne. Is that safe to say?
It is very safe to say, but I think Sunday also proved not so much like anyone doubting Mahomes' greatness, because we all know he's great, but you could probably plug in any quarterback in the NFL onto that Kansas City Chiefs roster, and just the embarrassment of riches they have with offensive weapons proves how good that team is, and also to how good of a coach Andy Reid truly is. But with your Browns on Sunday, like, there was parts where I was, like, rooting for them. Like, they had that great, he had the gimme interception. But unlike your other AFC North counterparts, I should say, where you look at their playoff losses and you kind of go, okay, where do they go from here? You guys, if you just add in, like, some more, like, maybe a linebacker or two and add in another, like, safety or even a corner just for depth, I honestly could see the Browns maybe winning the North next year.
I totally agree, and I try to take my fandom glasses off when I look at it. It's hard, but when you look at this team, think about this as well. The Browns coming into this season, another new head coach. You know, it was the same old thing. Another new head coach, but you didn't have your normal offseason because of COVID. to actually train in person, to do a proper training camp, learning a brand new offense on the fly, and Baker Mayfield and that team did. And after the bye week especially, you saw Baker Mayfield, quarterback rating-wise, touchdown to interception ratio-wise, was one of, if not the top quarterback in the National Football League on a lot of weeks. So now you take that and you say, okay, let's have a normal offseason, fingers crossed, everything gets back to normal by the next NFL season in the world. You have a full proper offseason. You make additions on defense. I think the Browns' whole offseason and draft should be around defense. I don't think you really have to do much, if anything, on offense. You should be getting Grant Delpit, the safety, second-round safety who they drafted, who tore his Achilles in the limited preseason action in the training camp site. So you should get him back. Greedy Williams, cornerback, who missed the whole year with a shoulder injury, should be back. You're going to want to add corners. You're going to want to also, Olivier Vernon's not coming back. He tore his Achilles, but he was on the last year of his deal. You need a stud opposite Myles Garrett. You need somebody to free up those double teams on Myles Garrett that will make people pay the price if they do double or triple team him, which Myles Garrett was getting. Pittsburgh triple teamed the man, and he was overcoming all the COVID stuff as well. Said he was still having breathing issues weeks later. And so you had a pass rusher. You had another starting corner. You definitely got to beef up the linebacker core. You have some good young talent there, but you need something else there, and a safety. So I think if you can, those are all very doable things via free agency and the draft. And the Browns now are an appealing destination. This isn't a place now where guys are going to come to collect a paycheck at the end of their careers like a Willie McGinnis back in the day, or lots of other players. This is a place where you think we can come, we can win, we got the coach, we got the franchise QB. So you add those factors in, and absolutely the Browns are on the rise, and I think out of any of the teams are in the best situation in the AFC North.
Also, too, the one thing I want to comment on is just the overall growth of Baker. Like, I remember, and also, too, I will admit myself, I had my doubts about him just because there's a whole thing about, are they going to pick up his option? Because they have to pick it up, I think, by May 22nd or something like that. Dan Graziano of ESPN was saying 4th and 5th year, they have to do it by then. But then people even didn't know that, if he was just going to walk. But then this year you saw not only him rise up as a leader, but his maturity and his confidence. Like, I feel like, and you're right too, you've said this before, as you've been on here multiple times, that new coach, new system. Like, I remember Jarvis Landry saying after the first game where it was, look, we didn't have much time to prepare because obviously a lot of teams were handicapped going into the 2020 season just with the limited amount of access they had due to COVID. But the fact that Kevin Stefanski stood up and has made Baker into the quarterback who he is, it's another thing to say. Like, if I had to vote for Coach of the Year, mine's Stefanski.
I think it's got to be.
Yeah.
I think it's got to be because you see with Kevin Stefanski, you take the Browns, and we've all seen the graphics here, and I'm so glad the Browns won a playoff game too, so hopefully we can wipe that crap away and I don't have to see it anymore. First playoff berth since 2002. First playoff win since 1994. Hadn't won in Pittsburgh in 17 years. Hadn't beaten Roethlisberger and Tomlin in Heinz Field. They did all that. You overcame it. You slayed the dragon. You overcame it. You turned Chase Claypool into a crazy person on social media. He's lost his mind. Chase is better reel it in because he's going off the rails. So you take all that. You have a front office and a head coach that are finally in lockstep, something that was rare since 1999, both on the same page. Synergy. Quarterback believes in the coach. Players, whole team believes and are bought in. Why? It goes lockstep with winning. 11 games. Like, this is a team with, again, a few tweaks. You stay free of major injuries, and there's no reason why they just can't win the North but make a serious run to the conference championship.
Oh, 100%. The other thing I'll say, too, is Wyatt Teller may be one of the most underrated guards in the league right now. Like, I saw Cleveland's record with and without him. Like, he's one of those difference makers because people don't realize a lot of the times, and we saw it with Baltimore. I said it last year when Marshall Yanda retired. Mm-hmm. When you lose key guards and tackles like that, it really messes you up. Now, Baltimore's got their offensive line questions. They obviously need a wide receiver one, but and also too, I guess hell froze over because Justin Tucker missed 2 field goals in the same game. I know that makes you laugh, but it's just the twilight zone. Like, that's how crazy 2020 is. But overall in all, like, when you look at a lot of these teams, like I was saying with the North, obviously Cincinnati, we'll see. But Pittsburgh and Baltimore now, like, it's not just, hey, smooth riding. And the Browns, also, too, for other people playing the Browns, it's not no longer, hey, Browns easy dub. It's, hey, it's going to be competition.
Yeah, and thing for Cleveland too, they're not going to catch anybody by surprise next year either.
No.
Like they're gonna people are realizing that they are legitimate. Absolutely, the walkover days are over, which is so refreshing, so good. The days of I talk to people at the different stations and whatever, and people are like, oh, sorry, man, good luck, hope your team. I think the worst thing as a fan is to have people pity your team. Oh, sorry, man. It's like, yeah, thanks. It's like you have like a relative you're embarrassed about. Yeah, I know. We love him. But, he's a little weird. It's now a team you can be proud of. It's moving forward. And yeah, and like Baltimore and Pittsburgh, they, as much as I dislike them as rivals, I'll use the word hate them as rivals. They are good organizations when it comes to building. There's a reason they're good almost all the time. So Baltimore's going to add their offensive line. Pittsburgh, I think, is super interesting in what you do with quarterback, because Ben Roethlisberger, at his current contract, is structured, I think, $40 million. That can't happen. Do you want him back? If you don't, you're going to go with Mason Rudolph? Woo.
The dead cap's also $22 million if they cut him.
Right?
Yeah.
So what do you do? Like, Pittsburgh's hosed. I don't believe in Lamar Jackson as a franchise quarterback at all, but at least Baltimore has the foundation built around how they want to play their offense. And they have a really good defense, right? So I think it's less dire there than in Pittsburgh. In Cincinnati, Joe Burrow coming back, I could see, I think Joe Burrow is going to be just tremendous. That guy is a hell of a quarterback. But, you're going to come back off that serious knee injury. Next year, I could see him sort of maybe by the end of the year getting back. And the following year, if health goes, I think the Cincinnati Bengals will be in a better position. They just got to keep building themselves. If we're talking about the AFC North, you got to improve in so many areas, that offensive line, and the defense. So maybe for the Bengals, if you go this year and sort of get those surrounding pieces and let Burrow work his way back in, then by the time the following year you do a little bit more, and the AFC North, boy, like that's going to be one of the. It's already three teams made the playoffs. Already one of the most difficult positions in football. Might remain that way, with maybe the exception of Pittsburgh and/or Baltimore. Who knows?
Yeah, and also I just say Baltimore. Like, I'm sure they'll get their offensive line figured out. They do, I think, need a new person at center. Mark Ingram's going. I just think my only thing is with them, they need a true wide receiver one. Like, Marquise Brown is good, but he's not like this all-pro wide receiver level. They need someone who cannot, and I'm not saying exactly be that, but they need someone who can be take the weight off of him. Kind of like, I'm going to actually make a Raptors reference. You know how we see the difference between what Pascal was with Kawhi versus last year, what he was without Kawhi in the bubble and stuff? Yeah. I can see the similar thing with Hollywood Brown.
Has to be that complementary piece.
Yes.
Right? Which is fine. Like Juju Smith-Schuster in Pittsburgh, too. Much better as a number two.
Yeah.
That's just different levels, different talents. And here's the thing with Baltimore. Marquise Brown, and we're seeing frustrations after the season, during the season, right? How's that attitude going to continue? I think their main problem is you have a quarterback who defenses scheme against to throw the ball. I have trouble believing that you can have a real franchise quarterback if the strategy by the opposition is to have him throw the ball. Teams want Lamar Jackson to throw the ball.
Yeah.
That is not sustained success to me, or it cannot be kept up that way. He can run, and he's athletic as anything, but we got his head banged, started getting banged up a little bit this year. Teams figuring him out. You don't blitz Lamar Jackson. You contain him.
Yeah.
You make him throw. Then you beat him. Like, it's defensive coordinators in the NFL are really smart, and they're going to keep figuring him out and keep doing that. So I almost don't know for the Ravens if investing in a true top-tier wide receiver makes sense, because I don't know if they have the guy who can get him the football consistently.
And that's the thing with the free agency market there, too, is, like, who's going to want to go there? Obviously, you're going to win, but Eric DeCosta's obviously, Baltimore's got a great history of GM. It's going to be very interesting to see what they do. And also, I saw some Bills fans on Twitter on Saturday night going, oh, Lamar's off to go take a number 2, and then he's going to come back and win the game. And after I saw the replay, I was just like, he ain't coming back. His head went smack on the turf.
Yeah. And, that's that wasn't necessarily because he was running just one of those situations, right? Pat Mahomes got a concussion. and all that. It's unfortunately part of playing football. Can happen at any time, just like guys stepping in the wrong spot, you get your leg rolled up on, right? And I just feel if you're the Ravens, everybody knows you're running, and that is just a case where if you take away the middle of the field and you contain Lamar Jackson, dude can't throw consistently to the outside. He just can't do it.
No,
can't do it. So if I'm the Ravens, like as a Browns fan, I hope the Ravens give that guy a 10-year, $500 million contract and keep, because I don't think he's the real deal. I don't at all. I think it's been a fun little ride, but it cannot be sustained. You try to put as much pieces around it, and we've seen they can get so far. You can have really good regular seasons. You can, as they prove, win a playoff game. But you can't go as far as you need to or want to because of that type of quarterback play. Baker Mayfield, we've seen, that's the type of quarterback that can do it. Big Ben, of course, in his heyday, that's the type of guy. Joe Burrow, that's the type of guy that can do it. You know, and you look in the other leagues too. Mobile doesn't necessarily mean running. Like Russell Wilson, one of the best future Hall of Famer. He's more slippery, smart about his running. Doesn't look to run first. That's the difference to me. Lamar, it's like he's still in college. It's one read, take off. That you cannot be successful long term in the NFL doing that. I think we're starting to see that, and I think we're going to continue to see that. It's
also, too, I think Greg Roman's kind of getting figured out. Like, he did the same thing with Colin Kaepernick in San Francisco. It's that Greg Roman offenses get figured out. And even, too, you're saying how Lamar, they forced him to throw. Just on another subject, I wanted to pivot. I feel the same way the Bucs did that with Breeze, and that's how the Bucs won the game on Sunday night, was they forced Drew to throw, because we obviously know his career is probably coming to an end, one of the best careers in the NFL history. But they forced him to throw. We know his arm mechanics aren't what they used to be, and he managed to throw those interceptions. And after the last one, I was like, that's game when it was like 4 minutes left.
Yeah.
That's just a comparison I wanted to make, where you force someone to do something they're weak at, they're not going to do better. So, and the other thing, too, when you say slippery, Aaron Rodgers comes to mind, like where he's not slippery. He'll throw it, but he'll also know, hey, look, he only runs when it's to get away from pressure.
Yeah, 100%. Patrick Mahomes as well.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes can run. Aaron Rodgers can run. They don't look to first. Josh Allen developed into that. Heck, Deshaun Watson. Remember Deshaun Watson when he came out? That dude was like Lamar. He was running first. And what it took for poor Deshaun Watson was a collapsed lung, broken rib, and the fact that there was one game he could not fly on the team plane because of his collapsed lung and the pressure. He couldn't take it on his lung, so he had to take a bus. After that, we started seeing him more in the pocket. Was he still going to run? Yes, but he was smarter about it. It was more calculated. He protected his body, and then he developed into a tremendous pocket passer, and it lived up to the hype of what people thought he could be coming out of college. I don't think Lamar has the arm. I don't think he has the arm talent to evolve the way like a Deshaun Watson did. And boy, that's going to be another interesting off-season storyline, isn't it? What does Deshaun get traded? Does he pull sort of an NBA James Harden type move? I want out and gets his wish, or is it kind of like old NFL? They're just like, well, you're staying, and that's it. You know?
The one team that I think could pull off the trade for him is the New York Jets, but I don't think Joe Douglas will. I think Joe Douglas either wants to keep Sam Darnold or draft someone. That's just me, though. That's my take on it. And also, I would love Deshaun just to stay out of the AFC East completely.
Ooh.
Yeah.
If you're a Bills fan, you want you take your chances with Sam Darnold. I still like Sam Darnold as a quarterback if he could get the right development. Who knows if he does? But yeah, you want Deshaun Watson out of that division. And maybe the Jets think, look, we got a bunch of high picks. You know, maybe it's not Justin Fields that they spend the pick on if they want to see Sam Darnold. I bet they draft a quarterback somewhere and just try to see. Because like Baker, Sam Darnold has been through a ton of different offenses and looks, and he had the mono and this and that. The difference is Baker's got his head coach, his offensive coordinator, and a game plan tailor-made to him, whereas Adam Gase was a complete abomination and should never even sniff a head coaching job in the National Football League again. I would question being an offensive coordinator. The guy admitted to not developing Sam Darnold. Why was he brought in? He was a quarterback guru, the whisperer. Terrible.
From the second
Sorry for the Gase rant. Drives me nuts.
It's all good. It's all good. And now, Seattle's apparently inquired about him because they fired Brian Schottenheimer. If they reunite with him with Jamal Adams, it's going to be like the funniest thing ever.
Oh man, I didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that would be no. Adam Gase needs to go away for a little while. Okay, come back. Take a year. You got your money. Come back as a quarterback coach. Sort of work your way back up, maybe an OC. But I think it's abundantly clear. Peyton Manning, who's a great dude and sings his praises, that's fine. But Peyton Manning made Adam Gase. If Adam Gase has kids or doesn't have kids, if he does have kids, rename them or name them Peyton Manning. Full name. Peyton Manning Gase. That's what they should name him because he made his career, his life professionally with how he played. Because we all know Peyton Manning was calling those plays.
100%. Even too, with Arians making that snide remark towards, but quickly before we go, Bruce Arians came out and said, I let Brady go, and, Belichick didn't do that. And I'm just like, Bruce, those are comments you shouldn't be making there, buddy. That's just another situation on its own, but...
I cannot wait to see Brady Rodgers. You know what? And honestly, early looks, Bucks and Packers and Bills Chiefs, I honestly think both these games, assuming Mahomes plays, both are true pick'ems.
Yeah.
Both are true. You could make a solid argument for or against either outcome, and it would be believable. It's going to be fascinating on Sunday. I can't wait.
The only other thing I'm going to say quickly is, as a Patriots fan, part of me wants to see Bills Bucks, and then the Bucks beat the Patriots just so Brady can rip the hearts out of Buffalo fans one last time.
That'd be tremendous. It would go one of two ways. Yeah, it would be Brady just hoses you just can't get away, or the ultimate revenge for the Buffalo Bills to get rid of Tom Brady. Wouldn't that be something?
Oh, it would be. Well, anyway, Andy, it's been an absolute blast getting to talk to you again, man. Can't wait to talk to you soon. Like I said earlier, and like you said, we can talk football 24/7, 365, 12 months a year, you name it.
Absolutely, brother. Good stuff. Hey, enjoy the games. You and your listeners enjoy the games. Have a lot of fun. It's should be two good ones.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to Sunday. It's going to be two good ones, and there's also happens to be a Leafs game sandwiched in there too for some reason.
That's kind of weird.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll talk to you later. Thank you once again, Andy, for coming back on.
Oh, absolutely. Anytime. Talk to you soon.
Talk to you later. Bye.